The Galactic Unity Hall was larger than anything humanity had ever seen. Ceilings stretched high above, shimmering with artificial starlight, and the walls were alive with holographic displays of every known galaxy. Billions of eyes from countless species watched through live feeds. But the representatives in the hall were the focus: 412 alien civilizations, each more powerful and strange than the last. Captain Mara Vance stood backstage, her palms sweaty beneath the thin gloves of her formal uniform. This was humanity's first real presence in the Unity Hall, and she was the first human ever allowed to address the council. She took a deep breath, trying to calm the whirlwind of thoughts in her mind. "Remember," Mara whispered Ambassador Lena from the human delegation. "Keep it polite, keep it short, keep it diplomatic." Mara nodded. She adjusted her earpiece and stepped forward. The platform hummed with energy as she ascended, and all eyes, alien eyes of every shape, color, and size, turned toward her. She felt the weight of history on her shoulders. One wrong word could ignite a war. The hall was silent. Even the soft hum of distant machinery seemed to pause. Mara cleared her throat. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Unity Council," she began, her voice steady but carrying across the chamber. "We, the people of Earth, come before you with respect and hope for cooperation." The aliens nodded in formal acknowledgement, as they were programmed to do. But Mara's mind was racing. She had studied every alien culture, every taboo, every gesture that could offend. She knew diplomacy required caution, but she also knew humans had a way of speaking the truth too plainly, too directly. And sometimes, that truth could cut sharper than any blade. Mara continued. "For centuries, humans have observed the galaxy. We have seen great empires rise and fall. We have seen civilizations claim superiority over others. And yet," her voice dropped slightly, and her next words carried more weight than anyone expected, "we have learned that respect is earned not by power, not by wealth, and not by fear. It is earned by understanding, by action, and by the courage to speak the truth." For a heartbeat, nothing happened. Then the reaction came like a chain. Breaking in every corner of the hall, a Narlax delegate rose from its platform, its multiple eyes wide in shock. Its voice, a series of clicks and whistles, echoed loudly, translated across the hall. "How dare these humans lecture us?" Another, a towering insectoid called the Vrekthal, slammed its clawed hands against the railing. "They think themselves superior to the council?" Voices overlapped. Shouts in alien languages, many of them previously unheard on Earth, filled the chamber. The translators struggled to keep up, but the human delegation caught every word. Accusations of arrogance, ignorance, and presumption. The murmurs grew into a cacophony of outrage. Mara froze. This was not what she had expected. She had intended no insult. She had spoken only truth. Yet somehow, alien cultures interpreted her words as the ultimate disrespect. The human ambassador, Lena, tried to intervene. "Representatives, please." She meant no offense, but it was too late. The council's security protocols activated. Protective energy barriers descended around the human delegation. Armed alien guards approached. From all sides, Ara's heart raced as the hall erupted in chaos. One of the translators whispered urgently, "They are not negotiating. They are ordering you out." Mara swallowed. She had trained for emergencies, for hostile encounters, for the possibility of war, but never for something like this. Being declared guilty of cosmic disrespect in less than 60 seconds. As she was escorted toward the exit, the alien delegates continued their cries of outrage, the translators working frantically to interpret. Some representatives shook their heads, unable to comprehend how a single species could offend so many. At once, others gestured wildly, pointing at her as if she had personally insulted their ancestors. Mara walked with measured steps, her mind racing. How did a simple speech become a galactic incident? Then, as she reached the outer corridor of the hall, her earpiece buzzed softly. A hidden channel, one she hadn't recognized, opened. A calm, unfamiliar voice spoke in her ear. "You spoke the truth. Now they will come for you." Mara froze. Her heart skipped a beat. The message was not threatening in tone, but the weight of the words sank deep into her chest. The council's anger had been anticipated. Political consequences had not. Someone or something was watching her more closely than even the entire hall. "Who is this?" she whispered, but no reply came. Behind her, the corridors were filled with armored guards escorting the human delegation swiftly to their ship. Mara kept her expression neutral, but her mind spun. Every scenario she had imagined for first contact for diplomacy with alien civilizations suddenly seemed naive. She had thought this would be a historic speech, a bridge. Instead, it had become a spark that might ignite a galaxy-wide fire. The human delegation entered the shuttle, the doors sealing behind them with a hiss. Mara slid into her seat, staring at the glowing city of the Unity Hall receding behind them. Every eye in the galaxy that had been watching her speech was now focused on her, some in fear, some in anger, some in confusion. And the secret voice in her ear had not stopped whispering, "They will come for you. Prepare. Humanity must. Be ready." Mara's jaw tightened. She was just a human among millions, but the responsibility now weighed on her as if she carried the fate of the entire species. One mistake, one wrong step, and humanity might not survive the consequences. Of a single truth spoken boldly in the wrong way, she looked out the viewport at the stars stretching infinitely ahead. Somewhere among them, the galaxy was watching and waiting, and Mara knew this was only the beginning. The shuttle accelerated, leaving the hall behind. The echoes of the council's outrage lingered in her mind. A stark reminder, the moment humanity offended the universe. A chain of events had begun that would test every ounce of courage, intelligence, and resolve in her species. Mara closed her eyes and whispered, to herself, "Then we will be ready." The list of enemies the human shuttle Saul's promise glided silently through the void, leaving the massive galactic Unity Hall behind. Captain Mara Vance sat rigidly in her seat, her eyes fixed on the stars outside the viewport. Her speech, meant to honor peace and cooperation, had ignited outrage across the galaxy. Around her, the human delegation whispered anxiously. Ambassador Lenor paced the cabin, his face pale. "We have never seen anything like this," he muttered. "Every feed, every translator, every council member, they've broadcast your words everywhere, and not just in translation. They've twisted them." Oh. Mara's jaw tightened. "Twisted how?" Lenor shook his head. "They framed your speech as a declaration of superiority. They say humanity is claiming dominance over the entire Union. They're calling it the first human insult." Her stomach tightened. She had known diplomacy carried risks, but she hadn't imagined this. Entire species, some powerful enough to destroy Earth multiple times over, now believed humans had deliberately offended them. "Have they taken action?" Mara asked. "Quietly already," Lena replied, his voice trembling. "Trade routes closed. Our ambassadors denied docking rights. Entire worlds are refusing to speak to us. The Galactic Council has issued cultural sanctions against humanity." Mara leaned back, her mind spun. Cultural sanctions meant more than words. It meant isolation, economic collapse, and potentially war. Humans had never faced an organized threat like this beyond the Sol system. Then the shuttle's alert chimed. A small holographic screen flickered to life above the console. Lenor swore under his breath. "It's a classified transmission," he said. "From the intelligence cores." "Mara, you need to see this." Mara stepped closer. The image of an alien war council appeared, shadowy, sharp, and terrifying. Multiple species, some she had only read about in history books, were seated around a massive circular table. Their faces, or what approximated faces, glared from the hologram. A caption appeared beneath them, "Targets to eliminate. Human speaker." Her heart skipped a beat. "Eliminate." Lenor nodded grimly. The human speech triggered a prophecy, or at least a belief, that humans are trying to assert dominance. Some factions don't want discussion. They want eradication. They've listed names. Yours is first. Mara felt a chill run down her spine.
Ow.
For the first time, she truly understood the scale of the danger. This was no longer political posturing. This was personal. Every alien capable of striking at Earth, or at her personally, now had permission. Then we need to know. Who exactly is coming for us? Mara said, her voice calm despite the fear simmering inside. Leaner opened a secure channel, pulling up a detailed map of alien systems. Tiny markers blinked in clusters. These are fleets, covert strike teams, and bounty squads aligned with factions that have already voted for immediate retaliation. And these are the diplomats who control entire planetary defense networks. If they move against us, we don't have the resources to survive. The shuttle Sol's promise drifted through a quiet sector of space. Stars streaked past the viewport as Captain Mara Vance replayed every moment of her speech in her mind. Every word, every pause, every glance. Nothing she remembered saying. Should have caused the uproar, yet billions of alien eyes believed she had insulted them. She had to know why. Down the human intelligence chamber, Mara and Ambassador Leaner accessed the oldest galactic archives that humanity could reach. Holographic records of ancient civilizations flickered around them. Records of wars, treaties, and prophecies that spanned thousands of years. Most humans had never even known these histories existed. Look at this, Leaner said, pointing to a worn digital scroll. It's from the early records of the Jareen species. They mention a prophecy called the Old Challenge. Mara leaned closer. The translation flickered in her mind. When the race of fragile limbs speaks the forgotten words, the stars shall tremble. They shall declare themselves the heirs of all knowledge, and the galaxy will respond with fire and steel. Her heart skipped a beat. Fragile limbs. Humans. Could this really be referring to her species? She read further. The prophecy described the exact phrase that had caused the uproar in the Unity Hall. Words about respect, courage, and the audacity to speak truth. In the alien translation, Mara's carefully measured speech had matched the prophetic phrasing. Almost perfectly. Leonard's voice was tight. The aliens are not angry because of what you said. They're angry because your words matched a prophecy, a warning that humans might rise to dominate the galaxy. Mara closed her eyes. It was impossible. She had spoken honestly, without thought of prophecy or power. And yet the universe had heard a declaration of dominance instead of a message of peace. The deeper they searched, the more troubling the history became. Centuries ago, similar prophecies had led entire alien civilizations to start wars, believing they were preventing humans from taking control. Ships had been destroyed, planets invaded, all because of words that humans hadn't even spoken yet. We've unknowingly stepped into a pattern that repeats every 1,000 years, Mara said, her voice low. The galaxy believes that we are a threat even when we're not. Every action we take will now be seen through that lens. Leaner swallowed hard. That explains the immediate hostility. But there's something else, Mara. Look here. He pointed to a recent communication log. The message had been intercepted by their own intelligence systems. A subtle change. In Mara's speech, words she had carefully written had been altered just before delivery. One phrase, simple and diplomatic in English, had been translated differently in Galactic Standard. Mara's eyes widened. Someone inside. Our government? It appears so, Leaner confirmed. Damn. The text was modified by a secure system inside the human delegation servers. It's hard to trace the origin, but whoever did this wanted the speech to trigger exactly what happened. Mara felt a cold shiver. The outrage in the hall hadn't been an accident. It had been manipulated, orchestrated. Humanity's enemies, or someone who wanted humans to appear as enemies, had set the stage. The revelation made the mission even more dangerous. Not only were billions of aliens angered, but Mara had to consider betrayal from within. She couldn't trust even her closest colleagues without verification. Every step, every decision could be under scrutiny. She leaned back, staring at the swirling holograms of ancient prophecies and the manipulated speech transcripts. One thought dominated her mind. The galaxy had feared humanity for centuries, and now that fear had been turned against them deliberately. Her mind raced. Who would want this? Leonard's voice broke her concentration. Captain, there's more. Some factions aren't waiting for us to respond. They're already mobilizing fleets preparing for preemptive strikes. They see this not as an offense, but as a declaration of war. Mara's fists clenched. She had hoped to solve this diplomatically, to calm the galaxy with words and truth. But someone else had already chosen the path of fire and steel. Then we adapt, she said firmly. We don't fight blindly. We find the truth behind this manipulation, and we show the galaxy what humanity really is, not what they fear. Us to be, Lena nodded. And if we fail, Mara's eyes were steady, hard, then we make them respect us anyway. That is what humans do. We survive. We endure. And we rise no matter what the universe throws at us. The shuttle moved into deeper space, leaving the Unity Hall behind. Mara knew the road ahead was treacherous. Every system might be hostile. Every fleet might be aiming at Earth. And every ally she trusted might be hiding secrets. But one thing was certain. The history of the galaxy, the old challenge, and the betrayal within her own government had revealed one truth. Humanity had been underestimated for centuries. Now, the universe would learn just how dangerous it was to do that. As Mara prepared to set a course for the nearest neutral sector, her earpiece crackled again. The mysterious voice returned calm and distant. You are on the right path. But the ones who changed your words are only the beginning. The galaxy will test you in ways you cannot yet imagine. Mara swallowed, staring into the darkness of space. Her mission was no longer just diplomacy. It was survival. And the entire universe would come to see what humans were capable of when cornered. The sabotage the shuttle Sol's promise cut through the darkness of deep space, guided by Mara's steady hand. Ahead lay a forgotten human military station, drifting in neutral space for decades. It was officially decommissioned, left to float among the stars, and its coordinates were known to only a handful of humans. Yet inside its walls lay answers Mara needed, answers about who had altered her speech, and why the galaxy had been provoked against Earth. The station appeared. Suddenly on the view screen, a skeletal structure of steel and fading lights. Its docking ports were corroded, and small meteor impacts scarred its hull. It seemed abandoned, but Mara's instincts told her otherwise. Danger lurked here, waiting. What? Prepare for manual docking, she said, her voice steady though her heart thudded with tension. Something feels wrong. Leonard's fingers flew over the control panel. Sensors showed nothing unusual, he said. But I've learned to trust your instincts, Captain. Mara maneuvered the shuttle closer. The docking clamps latched onto the station with a metallic clang, sending vibrations through the hull. Lights flickered across the shuttle's interior, reflecting off the tense faces of the human delegation. They entered the station, stepping into the dim corridors. Dust floated in the air, catching the beams of their flashlights. Every corner seemed to hold shadows, and every shadow seemed to watch them. This place hasn't seen life in decades, Lena whispered. Why would the speech have been altered from here? Mara didn't answer. She had already spotted signs of recent activity, footprints in the dust, energy readings on old consoles, and a faint hum of hidden machinery. Someone had been here. Someone capable. Someone who had waited decades for the right moment to strike. As they moved deeper into the station, a holographic terminal flickered to life. Data streamed across the screen, and Mara's eyes widened. War plans. Detailed schematics of human ships, fleets, and entire planetary defenses all prepared for offensive strikes across the galaxy. This isn't just manipulation, she said, her voice tight. This is a trap. Someone wanted to make the galaxy believe humans are aggressive, and now billions of aliens are ready to act on it. Leonard's hand went to his mouth. We have to destroy this, or it will justify their attacks. Mara nodded, but as they prepared to access the station's systems, the shuttle sensors blared. Incoming ships, multiple fleets, closing in fast. Mara's heart pounded. Enemy ships, she said. They tracked us here. The station's corridors suddenly felt tighter, darker, more claustrophobic. Mara gestured for the delegation to follow her. They moved quickly, ducking into maintenance shafts and storage rooms as the station's alarms began to blare. Red lights bathed the walls in warning flashes. I don't understand, Leaner said, panting. If this is neutral space, why are they attacking us now? Mara didn't answer. Her mind was calculating. Whoever altered her speech had anticipated this and had ensured that the moment humans tried to uncover the truth, the galaxy's most hostile factions would arrive. It was a perfect trap. They reached the main control hub. Mara tapped a sequence into the terminal, and the war plans began to download to a secure human drive. But then, the station shook violently. A beam from an alien warship outside slammed into the hull, sending sparks across the floor. Time is short, Mara shouted. Finish the download. They worked frantically. Every second stretched into eternity. Outside, the alien ships maneuvered with deadly precision, preparing for a full strike. Mara's chest tightened. She realized that if they didn't leave now, the station and all of them would be obliterated. The shuttle Sol's Promise raced through the void, the stars streaking past as if the galaxy itself were urging them forward. Captain Mara Vance knew that escaping the sabotage station was only the beginning. The fleets mobilizing against humanity would not wait. If humans wanted to survive, they had to gain allies, and fast. Neutral sector ahead, Leaner said, pointing to a blinking cluster on the holographic map. But Captain, these civilizations, they're outcasts, rogue states, exiles. Most have been banned from the Unity Council for centuries. Jaw tightened. Exiled or not, they have fleets, they have ships. And, more importantly, they've been underestimated, just like humanity. Sometimes the strongest allies are the ones no one trusts. The shuttle emerged from hyperspace near the jagged asteroid fields that marked the neutral sector. Floating bases and small colonies dotted the area, each one occupied by species considered dangerous or unpredictable. Mara's team began scanning. The largest of the bases, a rusted metallic city orbiting a gas giant. This is it, Mara said. Prepare for diplomatic approach. Carefully. They landed near the base's docking bay, and a tense silence fell over the delegation. Out of the shadows emerged creatures of every imaginable form. A towering reptilian warrior with scales glinting like metal. A multi-armed telepath whose mind shimmered in visible waves. And a small but fierce insectoid who clicked and hissed warnings. A voice boomed from the largest figure. Humans. Why should we help you? Mara stepped forward, holding her hands open in peace. Because the galaxy believes we are a threat, because we've been manipulated. And because if humanity falls, the consequences will reach every corner of this sector. The aliens exchanged glances. Suspicion and distrust ran deep. One of the reptilian leaders, Sarthok, leaned forward. And why should we trust humans? You have never fought in these wars, never faced the Council's judgment. You ask for help, yet you have given nothing but words. Mara's eyes hardened. We may have words, but we also have something every one of you knows: humanity. Survives, we adapt, we endure. And when the universe tries to corner us, we rise stronger than before. Help us, and you survive as well. Refuse, and the Council may not spare any of you either. A tense pause followed. Then the telepathic alien whispered directly into Mara's mind, the words strange but clear. We have our reasons to hate the Council too. We watch, we wait, and we strike when necessary. You may have courage, human, but courage alone does not win wars. Mara nodded. Then we combined courage with strategy. Together, negotiations were long, stretching through ours. Aliens demanded proof of humanity's sincerity, demonstrations of skill, and an understanding of their unique strengths. Mara offered what she could: intelligence on the Council's fleets, her knowledge of human ingenuity, and a promise to act decisively. Finally, a pact was formed. Small fleets of outcast civilizations agreed to follow Mara's command, but not without a condition. One alien, a shadowy, serpent-like spy named Krith, was embedded within their ranks to monitor her intentions. Leaner whispered as they prepared to leave the neutral sector. A spy? That's risky? Mara's eyes narrowed. We'll need to earn Krith's respect, or at least control the situation so he cannot interfere. If we fail, the Council will know our every move before we even make it. As the shuttle and allied ships exited the neutral sector, Mara felt the weight of responsibility more than ever. She had secured allies, but they were unpredictable, each with their own agendas and secrets. One wrong move could shatter the alliance and leave humanity exposed. The mysterious voice in her earpiece crackled again. "You have made the first step, but trust is fragile. One betrayal can undo everything. Watch Krith closely." Mara's jaw tightened. She knew the voice was right. Humanity had survived countless threats before, but now the challenge was far greater. Not only were the Council and its fleets coming, but trust itself, between humans and allies, between humans and the galaxy, was a weapon in the hands of the enemy. The first mission together would be a test. A small Council scouting fleet had been reported near the outer colonies. Mara's new allies prepared their ships, engines humming with latent power. The humans boarded their vessels, weapons ready but minds focused on strategy rather than brute force. Mara looked at the strange coalition around her. Each alien had survived persecution, exile, and suspicion, just as humans had survived wars, plagues, and near extinction. Together, perhaps, they could defy the galaxy's expectations. "Remember," Mara said, addressing the fleet. "We are outnumbered. We are underestimated, but that is our strength. No one expects humanity to act like this. No one expects us to survive, let alone strike back. Make them remember." Ships accelerated into the darkness, their combined silhouettes gleaming under distant starlight. Mara's heart pounded with anticipation and tension. Every jump, every maneuver, every decision could mean life or death. And lurking among the allies, hidden in shadows, Krith observed silently, ready to report any sign of deception. Mara understood the stakes. The spy was a constant threat, but she would use that threat as a weapon as well, predict his suspicions, control his perception, and turn the galaxy's underestimates into human advantage. The fleet disappeared into hyperspace, heading toward the Council's outer patrols. Mara's mind was a storm of strategy, anticipation, and caution. The coming confrontation would test not only human skill, but human resolve. She knew one truth: when humanity acted together with courage, intelligence, and unpredictability, even the most powerful forces in the galaxy could be challenged. Cliffhanger for Part 6. Mara and her allied fleet face the Council's vanguard in a decisive battle. Krith's loyalties are revealed at a critical moment, forcing Mara to make a life-or-death decision that will determine humanity's future. In the galaxy, humanity's stand, the void of space stretched endlessly, lit only by distant stars and the glimmer of the combined fleet Mara had assembled. Captain Maravance stood on the bridge of the human command ship, Saul's Promise, her eyes fixed on the approaching fleets of the Galactic Council. The Council's vanguard was massive, warships larger than entire human cities, bristling with weapons that could level planets. Her allies, exiled and underestimated species, formed tight formations around the human ships, their shapes and technologies strange and unpredictable. Mara's mind raced. She had spent days building trust, negotiating alliances, and preparing strategies. But nothing could replace the raw intensity of the moment. Battle was imminent, and the survival of humanity and the galaxy depended on their next moves. Linar stepped beside her, voice tense. "They've detected us. Shields are holding, but they'll fire first. They won't wait for words." Mara nodded. "Good. Let them fire first. Then we show them why humans survive." The Council fleet fired. Beams of energy and plasma streaked across the darkness, striking the allied ships. Mara's heart leapt as several of their outcasts' vessels twisted in the assault, but their shields held. The human ships responded with precise volleys, targeting weak points in the enemy formations. Suddenly, Mara's earpiece crackled. Krith, the serpent-like spy embedded within the allied ranks, spoke. "Captain, your plan is visible. I can see your fleet's strategy. The Council will counter in minutes unless you adapt." Mara's lips tightened. Krith had remained a wild card, a potential enemy. But now she realized something: the spy could be used. His insights into human movements would allow her to anticipate Council reactions, turning his surveillance into an advantage. "Good," she whispered. "Then they'll know exactly what to expect, and we'll give them something they can't anticipate." She ordered the fleet to split, humans and allies moving in deceptive patterns. Council warships recalculated, expecting a conventional human fight. But Mara's strategy relied on unpredictability, a human trait the aliens never fully understood. Small strike teams darted around massive vessels, creating confusion and forcing the enemy to divide their firepower. The battle raged for hours. Beams tore through void, explosions rippled across the stars, and fleets clashed with the force of celestial storms. Mara felt every tremor, every vibration through the hull of her ship, as if the battle itself pulsed through her body. Then, a signal from Krith arrived, unexpected but crucial. "Captain, the Council's command ship has a vulnerability. Their central shield array is synchronized. One precise strike could disable it temporarily, giving your fleet a chance to target their core systems." Mara nodded, realizing that the spy's knowledge could turn the tide. "Prepare the strike teams. Focus on the shield generator." The Allied fleet executed Mara's orders with precision. Small, nimble ships zipped through debris and fire, while human engineers and remote modules deployed guided missiles toward the shield array. The Council fleet faltered, shields flickered, then failed in a brilliant cascade of sparks and energy surges. Mara saw the opportunity. Units. Concentrate fire on the command ship's core systems.